Hello, in this lecture we will take a look at Chapter 4, Relational Database and Enterprise Systems. Well, we'll start off with the introduction of a database. A database is a collection of related data for various uses. So we have three types of data models. The hierarchical data model organizes data into a tree-like structure that allows repeating information using defined parent-child relationship. We have a network data model, is a flexible model representing objects and their relationships. And then we have a relational data model, which is what we'll narrow down on, is a data model that stores information in the form of related two-dimensional tables. Introduction to databases. Network data model allow each record to have multiple parent and multiple child records. Rational data models allow designers and users to identify relationships at the time the database is created or much later whenever the information requires from the data model are designed. While hierarchical network data models require relationships to be formed at the data creation, relational data models can be made up as needed. Therefore, we're going to basically focus in on the relational data models. And so we have the introduction to the databases. We have the relational data models are the dominant data model form in use today, likely because they offer many advantages over other data models. So we're going to focus in on the relational data model. Flexibility and scalability are some of the advantages. As business and information requirements change, relational data models are able to handle these changes quickly and easily. For this flexibility, the relational data model for database is the most popular data model today. In fact, most enterprise systems, including SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, use the relational data model as their foundation. Of course, we'll be looking at Access in this course for the data model example, and it will be similar in formation to many of these other types of mainstream data models. We have the database management system, which is the DBMS. The database management system is defined as a computer program that creates, modifies, and queries the database. So we're going to create the database, modify the database, create queries, which are questions basically being asked of the database, which will then compile the data and different information between the tables and give us a response. Specifically, the data management system is designed to manage a database storage and retrieval of information. So, of course, the database is geared to store a large amount of data. You can kind of think of an Excel sheet as basically one table. There's going to be many tables within the database program, kind of like a two-dimensional sheet compared to like a cube. And we can make queries drawing data from multiple sheets in the database. We have the data directory. The data directory describes the data fields in each database record, such as field description, field length, field type. So that could be alphanumeric, numeric, and so on, and the types of field that we're going to have, dates and whatnot. Database administrator is, of course, the person responsible for design, implementation, repair, and security of the firm's database. So they're going to be the IT person designing the database. Fundamentals of relational databases. We have the entities and attributes. We have a class. In the relational database model could be a person, place, thing, transaction, or event about which information is stored. So that's going to be the class, and the class could be grouped and into resources, events, and agents in the data modeling. Then we have attributes or characteristics, properties, or objectives that describe each class. And then we have the three main constructs. We have the table. This is going to be similar to like an Excel table. So the primary construct within a database program, of course. Primary construct used for data storage with rows and columns, much like a spreadsheet. So much like an Excel type spreadsheet table we have here. Each table is a database, represents either a class or a relationship between classes. Tables need to be properly linked to make a relational database. We got to link the tables in a proper way in order to make the relational database program. So we have columns. The columns in a table are called fields. So remember, just like a column in an Excel sheet, in the database program we're going to call them fields, represent the attributes or characteristics of the class or relationship. And then the rows, just like an Excel sheet, now we got the rows. The rows in the table are called records or tuples. I'm going to stick with records over here. The records represent all the specific data values that are associated with one instance. So we have the keys and relationships. So the primary key is going to be an attribute or combination of attributes that uniquely identify the specific row. So we'll take a look at this, an example of this in a second. The foreign key is the relational database model serves as an attribute in one table that is primary key to another table. This is how we're going to link the tables together or associate them. A foreign key acts to provide a logical relationship or link between two tables. So, for example, if we're looking at these tables, we have the customer table, and the primary key is normally the one on the far left. So for the customer table, the primary key being the customer ID looks like the social security number in this case. And then we have the sales table, a whole other spreadsheet. Remember, if we were in Excel, we'd probably have another tab in looking at the sales data. And it has it by invoice. So the primary key for it, of course, is the invoice. And then we have the product table. Primary key is going to be the product number on the left-hand side. When we link these tables together, we're going to take the primary key of the customer table, link it to the foreign key in the sales table. And that's how we'll basically link this together. When we take a look at the example down here, we've got the primary key and the product table being the product number. We can link to the sales table. It's going to be the foreign key in the sales table. And that's how we'll link these database tables together.